Welcome back to another PSO2 New Genesis video, and today we need to have a talk about the state of the game itself. And the game at the time of the video had been out for about 5 to 6 days, give or take an hour or two, and the game itself is in a very hard shape right now. And I know a lot of people are very frustrated, a lot of people are very upset for good reason. And today, I'm going to go over everything that we know, everything that is happening, and hopefully help you guys understand some of the details if you're not caught up on all this. And also give you a heads up on the game itself if you are planning on hopping on soon, or have played it off and on, or you have dropped it because of the problems. But before we get to this, of course, welcome. If you're new here, or if you're one of the billions and trillions that have not already subscribed to that wonderful channel, make sure you do that. So, like always, stay with me. Like, favorite, subscribe, hit all the bells, do some thumbs up, leave some comments, do what you do. Also, a small little heads up here. I am now streaming, especially once E3 is over. I am now streaming here on YouTube every night starting at 7 p.m. because you all pretty much wanted it. So that will be happening and now with a new Genesis. And with that, let's get into it. Let's discuss PSO2 as it stands right now. So to start off, a new Genesis have had a very iffy launch over on Xbox and PC Elite on the global side. I know there was some issues on JP, but the exact details I'm not 100% well up. So if you play JP, please leave a comment below for all the JP player or anybody that playing over there, so you know what you're getting into. But today we are specifically speaking about global itself, and in my case, playing it over on Steam. But like I said, most of the problems do carry over on all platforms. So to start off, the game ended up going live this week. But there was some issues, mainly, so starting off right out the gate, we did get a super long extended maintenance, with the game being pushed back, if I remember correctly, about 6-ish hours, maybe a little over, longer than we originally were estimating. I don't know if that is one of the reasons here or what, but nonetheless, we did have an extended maintenance for the game itself for its launch. And then as we got into it, the game itself started off being fairly semi-stable, with at least from my experience over on ship 1, with mainly the game like lagging between loading like cutscenes, especially in the beginning of the game, since the beginning of the game is very cutscene heavy. Not nearly as bad as some other RPGs, but you know, enough to be noticeable. And I did note the issue of lag, which I didn't think much at the time, because as we all know, when a new game comes out, especially a game that is online focused, there will be issues, and the server itself will pretty much maxed out on a day one, at least on ship 1. I imagine the same on all the other ships. So originally, just assume that was the problem. But as the day went on, and as we got into the second and third day, this little thing started screaming at me. I don't know if you could hear her, but she's screaming, and now she's very happy. But like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, on day 2 and 3, we started noticing a lot more lag coming into the game itself. It originally started off as just being in between cutscenes, to multiple lags that had multiple people in my live chat complaining about them being disconnected, being booted out of the game. For me, I luckily enough never had the issue of being kicked out. But with that being said, I did get the massive amount of lag that ended up lasting anywhere from a few seconds all the way up to 30 seconds to a minute on the worst of it. Once again, originally assumed it was just a server issue, because not too far after that, we did get an announcement of a emergency maintenance to come in and took the game down for a little over 5 hours to fix whatever was happening. Might have been adding more server, might have been netcode. I don't know what it was. I don't think they have publicly said what it was beyond being aware that the lag was something on their end, obviously, and they were supposed to fix it. The thing is, this is coming at a cost. The game itself went, elite from ship 1 anyway, went to pretty much not noticing much of a difference when the game was up. It still was lagging all over the place. The menus was also lagging, so if you was like trying to do an emote, or if you were trying to upgrade your equipment, or any of trying to navigate like the player shop and auction house. It was so laggy to the point that you could push a button and literally wait multiple minutes for it to actually happen in the game, in the menus, as well as in the battlefield. And then on top of that, in the battlefield, literally we have the lag where everything would just stop working and you all just standing around shooting and doing absolutely no damage to just have it come back, do a crap ton of damage, and then lag again. But as we went along, there were other issues that started popping up, such as a bug that as of now it's still in the game. Or well, if you have equipment and you sell it while you're outside the city, just killing monsters or leveling or whatever we might be doing. If your inventory get full and you decide to sell some items, and then you end up teleporting back to the main city, you will in return lose all that money that you sold from the items, and the items will be gone as well, so you will lose both. And then also there were issues that were coming into play for like the player shop, since there is right now also another bug. Well, if you had an item on the player shop being sold before the maintenance, there was a high chance when the maintenance ended or the emergency maintenance ended that your item would be bugged and you won't be able to sell it at all. If you want more information on that from a first-hand experience, I recommend checking out Anamana. I'll have a link in the description and on screen as well if you haven't already heard of him, but you probably have. He did a video going over some of the complaints as well, and that one of the things that happened to him. So, want more information, go over there, watch the video. It's fantastic. Link in the description. And now we are entering the stage where it's starting to seem like some of the issue, I don't know if this is the issue, but the thing that have been starting noticing, especially between me and my chat that is also playing with me on Ship 1 or playing on other servers as well, it seemed to be the server did not know how to really handle when we have special things happening. Mainly being an example of like origin quests. The game itself seemed to very much lag out anytime that like an origin quest began, or when people are taking part in origin quests. And in return, it will be literally for everyone. As an example, earlier tonight, I ended up being in a party. I went up to the regional map to get some stat bonuses, and why I was completely on the other side of the map in a totally different area and different instant. My party were reporting to me at the same time as I was getting lag trying to talk to the mag, and the menu was just spinning ball of doom. They will also have an issue and having lag as well. So it seemed like the servers itself, instead of what was seeming to be implying that each zone is kind of its own instance in its own way, since unlike other MMO, there can only be so many players in so many areas, with, of course, the dungeon area being locked at 8 players, and the actual open fields are being locked at 32. But it seemed like that would be technically disconnected, and also not counting that if you're playing on console, there is a buffer time between transitioning between zones. On PC, it also there, but not nearly as bad. But nonetheless, with that being seeming to be a separation, so what happening in one zone will affect another, that is not the case. It is happening everywhere in the game at the same time when it does hit. So which in return, might could be either a problem for the server itself, trying to actually separate people out into different instances and just not doing it. I know there were also people showing photos and videos and whatnot going around of areas that only hold 32 player ended up holding a crap ton more than we're supposed to, which in return kind of giving the vibe that there is a issue with the server, like understanding what is the intent and how to cap area, which could be causing the problem. Or there could be another issue that come with the game literally being out on every platform. In League Global anyway, every platform but PS4 and the Switch. Well, in JP, it is available on Switch and PS4, but not Xbox. So with the game being out on so many platforms, there could also be a communication problem, since PSO2 is cross-play and cross-account. So don't matter what you're playing it on, what, operating system, or I guess I should say a game client you playing on, might be Steam or Windows or Epic or any playing it on Xbox. They all the same. They all carry over, and you carry over with you. So there could be some type of issue there. that could be the problem. But for the time being now, and for where we are right now, there is SEGA know what's happening. They have commented on it, and I do recommend heading over to ngs.pso2.com, since over there they are pretty much keeping everyone up to date and doing multiple posts a day, letting you know, hey, what bugs are being found and whatnot. And ideally, from there, you can also help out. Since lucky enough, I had a PR member, a link from the global site, hang out in my streams every now and again, and ended up coming in wanting to know what's going on, asking questions about how is it working, especially now after the emergency maintenance we had after the game launch. And I ended up asking them like, what are the best way to actually report the bugs? And the best way to do that will be, of course, by filling out a actual ticket or a message to them to let you know what problems you're having, and ideally offer screenshots as well. With that being said, that is what they recommended. But also, if you don't want to go through that route, because it is a little bit of a headache to do, might it be linking your account from Steam or from Windows or whatever onto the PSO2 website. If you don't want to do with that, I know a lot of people also been reaching out to the actual official PSO2 Twitter account as well, letting them know. Just know that the thing is about this is the game is being handled by SEGA of Japan, so a lot of the information are going to have to be passed. Some of it will fall through the crack, obviously, and then on top of that, we do got to deal with the time distance, and then not counting the distance in between, like JP announcing it right away and then having to wait, X amount of time for it to pop up on Twitter or over on the global website. There is a disconnect there, and in return, some information might seem a little more slower than others, and in return, you need to keep that in mind. Some of the information might be a little lag between, no pun intended here, between Japan and global because of this. So, just stay calm and let SEGA know what's happening, and please try to keep the actual threats down to a non-existing amount, ideally, because at the end of the day, no like hateful comments ain't gonna really help. We all need to just have patience, and we need to be able to at least share what is happening with global SEGA, and hopefully get it passed on to SEGA of Japan. But there is other issues inside of New Genesis outside that lag issue, which is also coming into a lot of stuff that mechanically is making the game a little more difficult. Which is, at the time of this video, the actual player shop itself. When it is working, when the menus are working, we are having a little bit of issues since a lot of stuff seemed to got pushed back. Might it because of the problem, such as the ability of getting one free draw of AC or AC scratch, which is pretty much the loot crate of the game, and being able to use them items on player shop to sell to get in-game currency if it's an item you don't want or you just want to make some money on the side. There is none of that available, so at that point, if you're a free-to-play player, that is not there. Any of that will supposed to be there at launch. For whatever reason, that been cut, more than likely because of the lag. And also, we no longer have like star gem stuff to do at either. And the only way to get star gems in the game is by opening a few red crate that gather about the environment. So between being able to do the free-to-play and get the currency for the free-to-play stuff that you can also spend money on if you want, don't need to. There is not really a lot to do there. And then going back to the player shop stuff is mainly by not offering a way for players to get their hands on a way to sell items on the player shop without having to either buy premium or actually buy just the player shop stuff. And if you want just the player shop, it's $7. If you want premium, it's $13. There is no way to get that for free right now. And if we did have a way to do that in a PSO2 through Fun Scratch, and if you were lucky enough that ended up spamming Fun Scratches, you might have ended up with a whole bunch of tickets to allow you to sell without having to spend real money. Problem is, that is not available in PSO2 anymore, and nothing have technically replaced it inside of New Genesis. So right now, a lot of the stuff is being put upon the pay players, and in return, ending up hoarding pretty much the free-to-play player in a lot of ways, because at that point, there was no way to sell because of no option. And then on top of that, you can't any trade items in the game at all right now, with it being no longer available for the time of the video. Could it be with them trying to calm down on bots and stuff? The problem is with that didn't exactly work. Since from my experience, I have seen a few real money transaction bots popping up in the game, and no one knew how bad it bait PSO, but for the time being, I have seen a few. So obviously, trading didn't really matter to keep the bots away because they are heal. So right now, PSO2 New Genesis, between all the lag, between the issue with, the player shop, the actual pay players having to carry the game in a lot of way, and also keeping the free-to-play player restricted a lot more than before, which in return will all probably more likely come back to the concept of whatever the bug is that is causing PSO2 New Genesis to lag and not function correctly. It also probably holding up a lot of content that we were supposed to get at launch but haven't. But at the end of the day, if this is extremely frustrating, extremely irritating, just know that we'll get better in time. Just have patience. If you don't have patience, please, for the love of God, just do not harass anybody about this. Just move on to whatever game you're going to play. PSO2, a New Genesis, will be here if you decide to come back. Or if you don't want to take a little bit of break while we wait for it to get worked out. Just know the game itself is solid enough to be a fun game. It is extremely a good game. The problem is, right now, the lag issue and everything that connected to it, making the game not show its best side. But with that being said, hopefully they get fixed in the next few days. We do have maintenance being announced coming for every Tuesday. So hopefully either we will get emergency maintenance in the next day or so, or hopefully the maintenance that will happen on Tuesday will hopefully fix a whole bunch of the issues, and hopefully we can start moving on from all this. Because if ship 1 is nowhere near as bad as it was before the update, it is still very much a frustrating thing. And in some cases, I have heard other ships or servers or any Warsaw and maybe ship 1 is just getting lucky here. But nonetheless, this is a problem that needs to be fixed. And hopefully, in due time, SEGA will. And we can move on to patch this and get, hopefully, into getting more content and getting any more items and stuff in the game to help out free-to-play players. So, once again, I will have links in the description below for you to check out PSO2, a New Genesis official website, as well as the Twitter account for PSO2, and also a link to where you can submit a submission for any problems you might come across. And hopefully, in due time, we can get it all worked out. And in the next week or two, we can just all play New Genesis and have a blast. So that's the state of New Genesis as of June 14th. And I will update you guys as we go into this, and as we hopefully get more and more stuff fixed, and we can start enjoying the game. But with that, if you are new here, make sure you do like, favorite, subscribe, hit all the bells, and also don't forget, I am streaming every single day with a PSO2 New Genesis starting around 7 p.m. Central, give or take a little bit right now during E3, because E3 is hectic. But I am playing over there, and of course you can come on over, check out the game, see what the state of the game is, and ask me any question you might need to know, want to know, or if you're just curious about certain mechanics of the game, and who knows, maybe your question will be turned into a video right here on the channel. With that, that would do it for me, and I will see you all in the comments. Thank you so much for checking out the video. If you're interested in any more content from me that is PSO related and other stuff related, feel free to check out the links up on the left. And I like to give a giant shout out to my Patreons and also my memberships here on YouTube, and a special call out to Kyle Blower for checking out the VIP section over on Patreon. And with that, that will do it for me, and I will see you all in the next video for real. Bye!